All right, guys, here we're going to talk about Season 1, Episode 8 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I, Robot, You, Jane.
Bit of a pun there, bit of a reference.
Indeed. So we got Moloch the Corruptor is the villain
I forgot his full
today.
title, yeah.
And I love that, like, so his name is kind of forgettable, I suppose. They don't really say it all the time.
I've known Moloch for years. That's who they say that the Illuminati sacrifices kids to, is Moloch. He's a real god.
Is that the Owl God?
No, that's like a different thing.
I'm obsessed with the Owl God.
No, Moloch's the one that like eats the souls of children or whatever.
Really?
I'm not an expert, but I've heard Moloch before, so I was like, hey!
Okay, that actually makes me feel better that you've outside of the world heard it before and it's an actual thing, because Miss Calendar was like, what? The Corruptor?
Well, but then,
she like knew like it was like, secondhand knowledge.
I'm not sure that they're drawing from the same legend here, because I don't know the full, because again, I'm not an expert, but they've at least used the name of a real,
sure.
Like Gozer. No.
But I enjoyed, it starts off, it's a flashback, it's 14, 18 or something, and like, what are they, in Italy?
It's like Italian or Latin or some old.
But I like that. You have some monks, you have some like, I'm seeing a new set, we're outside of Sunnydale.
Absolutely.
There's some cool stuff, some bad digital effects happening as they cast him into a book. I like that he's this like, demonic horned fucking guy. And
guy who
I need your love.
We've seen in the intro credits.
Yes.
This face
7 times before.
And now we finally know who it is. Mm-hmm. And he's gone. Spoilers.
He's got a great look. And, like, he even gets a great look when he gets digitally reincarnated. I was like, I like him as a robot, too.
Mecha Moloch.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's a cool look. It applies. I like that it now carries over to this weighted character that has, I'm made of metal and shit.
Like a real thing,
I think that's cool. Body. And you don't get to see that necessarily, like Buffy face someone, I can't even hurt you. Like,
when she goes to do the thing, and it's like, bunk,
just drops.
Nothing happens. Yeah.
Ow, guy's made of metal.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
We are.
So they get put into the book gets sealed up, and then bam, we're back in the 20th century. And
awesome transition with the box getting closed, and then Buffy opening the box.
Oh, great. A book.
Oh, a book.
Oh, a book. Because we're just doing fucking book hour here, yeah.
I like that. I like that. We see, I believe his name is Jesse from Fast and the Furious.
Yes, that shit.
Is Dave, I think is his name. He's the one that gets handed the book in the first scene, and you're like, oh, I know that person, and he comes back to be a main character of the episode.
Here, I'll get it.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
He is one of the computer nerds, super smart. Him and his boy Fritz are some of the first to be duped and sucked into this demon's web of
no, Moloch controls the nerds, right? But we should say so I did not love this episode, by the way. Which we'll get into.
Some great points, but I'd say overall it's a little slow.
Well, it has good ideas, but I feel like it's like kind of a dud. You mentioned like there's no throwaway episodes. There's like 2. The rest of the like the show is great. This is one that I would be like, I don't like this episode very much overall. But we'll get into all the reasons why.
Sure.
But like there's a bunch of stuff that I liked a lot about it, and one of them is that like scanning the book is like the computer is reading the book, and now Moloch is trapped in the internet and like controls the nerds from the internet.
Yeah.
I've shown you a new world, Dave. Knowledge. Power. I can give you everything. All I want is your love.
I was interested, and they didn't really go into detail on how he is doing that, like, because it seemed like he has some sort of aura, or maybe his voice can, like, do things to you, but once it's digitized, you'd think, like, there could be some effect on that, or, like, is it amplified? Is it just the fact that he's near you? Like, what is his thing? Because a demon waking up in the internet is very strange, like, where am I? And you're like, what?
That's very creepy.
I'm speaking English. Also fun. But you could also say, like, well, when he has the whole digital world at his fingertips, he could learn things very quickly, because he wasn't around for Nazi Germany, but he did change a kid's book report to say that it was like an example of a well-running government.
This isn't my report. Nazi Germany was a model of a well-ordered society? I didn't write that.
Well, because he was reading it, as
That's
an
what I'm saying
outsider,
is you
being
can
like, this is good.
usually when something like makes a reference like what? How are you referencing that? But he could have conceivably known.
He has a lot of time to read. No, that is such a fascinating, awesome concept that yes, for it to end up like VR Troopers or Power Rangers, where you have like Mecha or whatever. I've built this fake body and now I'm going to do this. So I was kind of like, okay, whatever. And then like the Willow part, I didn't like a lot. I think that was like, Willow becomes obsessed with like she is an internet boyfriend, and this is like ripped from the headlines because this was a time when like parents were afraid, oh, you're gonna meet someone on the internet and they're gonna like trick you or something like that. So this is a very like timely.
Well, this is when
back then.
computers are a fad. This isn't gonna be a thing. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You met him online. What line?
I met him online. Online for what?
Like,
oh God, right?
I love that shit because, well, A, it brings me back to a time that was a little bit more sane. As we've gone a little off the deep end as of recently, not necessarily internet's
Well, and
fault.
she's like, well, you have to meet him in person. That's ridiculous. And Willow's like, whatever. I thought Willow was like too into it or too obsessed or too weird about it.
That's a high school girl to me. I think that played it as reality.
Yeah.
We all knew somebody who, I have an online girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. They're from Canada. You wouldn't know them. And
I guess that's the thing. It felt too something to me.
It
like
felt
too
very
much
quick.
or whatever.
It was very quick.
I don't
But
know.
there's also the part, and it's hard to say if it actually happened because he seemed to display actual feelings towards her because she was the one that read the book, got him out of there.
She's special to him, yes.
But was she under any influence at all? I don't know, because that would explain how it went so super quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And it does seem like some people are able to fight it, like the Dave character played by the guy from Fast and Furious.
Resists,
he does resist, and then he gets suicided away.
At least now I'll have some peace. Remember me. Love, Dave.
Epstein with his little note and whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I don't know how he knew that was coming, because it seemed like he was prepared to kill him immediately. And like, and not that he had the note pre-scripted and writ, he wrote that right in front of him, but Fritz was in the room, like ready to kill him. And he couldn't have been watching that on the camera because there's no camera in the locker room. You wouldn't necessarily know he did that.
It seems like Moloch has like a hive mind, like live control of people, which might be a thing, and then the internet was just the starting thing or whatever. I do think it's super creepy to have the suicide note like appearing on the screen like
live
in front of the kid. That's like a cool angle too. I like that.
I liked a couple things. There was some goofy stuff though. I don't know if you caught was when he's first scanning like her with the pixelated camera and he tracks her through like the yearbook or whatever. It's in a zoom, so it's like wide out, or it's a wide shot rather, and you see it and it shows that she is a senior. And then it zooms in and it shows that she's a sophomore, and then when it goes on Fritz's screen, it shows that she is a senior again. Her birthday also changes too, and I was like, what's going on here?
I did not notice that. Those scenes are cringe though.
Yeah.
And like I like hackers and like old computer archaic net like stuff or whatever, but I still thought a lot of this was like very like when Moloch appears on the screen super pixelated. I was like, oh god, guys, what are we doing?
I like that because he had to have inputted what he looked like from memory, because that's not a thing.
Stay away from Willow. It is none of your business.
Yeah, no, he has to like I guess learn how to do, and there's a lot of like cool stuff to unpack with some of this stuff. But the episode is much more concerned with like poor Willow and Mecha Moloch and stuff. So it's like not a lot.
Malcolm, as Willow knows him as, is talking with her, through like some sort of version of AIM. But at one point, like I think was this in her bedroom or was this in I forget where it took place.
Yeah,
but the text always showed up as like W for Willow, M for Malcolm, and like there was always that like blinking like line thing, like when you're in a Word document. And I was like, I think someone just recorded themselves typing this whole conversation in Word.
Me better than anyone.
I do.
Do you think we should meet?
I think we should soon.
And it's right there because it wasn't anything I've ever seen as how messages are displayed.
Fake internet in movies is always a thing. Yes.
I enjoy that more than most.
That's nice. Have a good time.
She certainly looks perky.
So I think I mentioned Miss Calendar by name before, but this is her first appearance of Miss Calendar.
It never clicked for me because I don't think I know this character, but it again, like spoilers for me, it feels like she's going to reoccur on the show.
she does have that air about her where it's like, oh wait, you're a technopagan?
Technopagan is the term. There are more of us than you'd think.
Like you understand what things are, this and that. That's cool. They have a good rapport with her and Giles.
They bond.
And
it's great.
you're like, oh, there's a great like arguey tension here. We're almost like how Cordelia is with Xander, when they bicker back and forth. I'm like, I like that. I love she drops the most savage line.
I'll be back in the Middle Ages.
Did you ever leave?
No, exactly. No, they have a great rapport. This is the beginning, and this is like the super like pro-internet thing that happens, where she's like, there are more emails sent than real mails, Giles. Like, get with the times. It's like, oh, that's terrifying. I can't get with the times, right? This whole thing. And then we have the flip layer. I thought a lot of this was cool. Like the pro-internet stuff's a little cringe, but then at the end.
At the time, though, it would have been very topical.
Yes, but now
and I love Fritz's approach, where he's like
cringe.
a militant. Internet is good. You gotta get with the times, old man.
He says like, if you're not, I think he says
jacked in.
If you're not jacked in or jacked on.
I think jacked in. Could be jacked on.
The printed page is obsolete. Information isn't bound up anymore. It's an entity. The only reality is virtual. If you're not jacked in, you're not alive.
If you're not jacked blank, you're not alive.
Yeah.
Something like that. The printed word is dead. He says some like very strong stuff.
Not wrong.
Which is okay, because this is him being primed to be like an extremist that Moloch can tap into. But yeah, no. So like then she drops the whole like, I'm casting the bones, and I'm like, are you using an app for that? Are you casting real? Like, what are you doing? Right? But so like, you know, then it becomes cool like in the middle, where like Giles and her are bonding, and they're bouncing off, you know, of each other. Everything is great. Then we re-entered the like cringe territory. Like a dolphin in a sea of cringe, briefly jumping out of it, right?
Okay.
We like jump back in, where it's like, oh, we're doing like a prayer circle, like digitally though, and we're connecting the nodes in the net. And I was like, oh no, oh god.
The first thing we have to do is form the circle of Kayless. Right?
Form a circle, but there's only two of us. It's really more of a line.
You're not getting it, Rupert. We have to form the circle inside.
And like that's how they end up.
Yeah.
So like Buffy's fighting Mecha Moloch, and they're like typing, and Giles is like, oh, books, rituals, something or other. We have to do a thing. Like, do they use the scanner in like reverse? How do they like undo the thing? What do they do?
Well, they don't have. So it doesn't end up back in the book. He ends up locked into his mecha body, so they didn't have to scan anything.
True. Okay, I was gonna say.
But Giles did
track.
like look. He's like, is he in there?
He's not in the book.
He's not in the book.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm thinking.
And I do wonder if it was a mistake, or if it's just how it works. So like when Miss Calendar's first slipping through the book, in the middle of like their argument,
she's like, "It's empty, bitch."
Yeah,
you suck at books.
Well, you can see though, like on a couple pages there is writing,
Oh.
and in my head I'm like, you know, as the person who's thinking realistically, I'm like, okay, the book is probably all blank except for the 4 pages that are
that you
know
saw
the Moloch
earlier,
thing,
yes.
and that's just you flipping there. But I'm like, or are there other things written in this book? Maybe optimistically, it does seem, because he is the picture on the front. That is just him. I don't think there's like some smaller demon in the back. But
no, but this is the whole thing, right? How many pages, how many letters, how many characters does it take? What's the compression ratio on storing
she
a
did
demon?
scan it wicked fast.
How many?
She's like, oh, it's got one more thing. That book just came out, and somehow you scanned the whole book.
How many bytes does it take to store a demon? What are we doing?
To get to the center of the demon
Exactly.
pop. I like their little bit of like, he's like, oh, okay, it was fun talking to you. And she's like, we were arguing. All right, we'll do it again sometime.
Well, it's been so nice talking to you.
We were fighting.
Must do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Because you can see on his face, he's like, oh shit, that's a demon book. Oh.
No, and there's a great moment there. I kind of breezed past it, where like he's like, "What the fuck am I supposed to tell her? There's a demon in the internet." And they're like, "I don't know, Giles. Figure it out. We have to go kill someone over here." He's like, "Fuck." And then they have their interaction, and she flanks him on it.
She's not surprised at all. Cool. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, duh, old man. They're gonna fuck, right? Is that what's gonna happen?
Today.
Okay, right as we speak. Perfect. Great.
I like especially at the moment, the topical or timely, I should say, reference of when Xander kind of comes to the thing of like, you don't know who he is. Could be anybody.
Yeah.
I could say I'm a high school boy. You are a high school boy. I could say I'm an old Dutch lady. And in the old Dutch lady forums, who's to say I'm not? Yeah. And that's as true then as it is now. Like,
absolutely.
I think that's great. But like, you could see on Buffy's face, we're like, oh my God. And like, I imagine that's what like parents were like, people can lie on the internet?
You think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
Nonsense.
I have a question. So they attempt to kill Buffy by putting exposed wires in the shower and telling her Willow is in the girls' locker room.
Another very cringy part of the episode.
Yes.
But
Now,
yes.
I was wondering, would that even shock her because she's wearing shoes? And then I thought, well, those are girl shoes. So like guy shoes are rubber bottomed, like, you know, like I'm wearing shoes type of thing.
And girl
but
shoes
girl
are
shoes
made out
might
of,
be made of like cowhide. I have no idea.
Very conductive material.
It's possible.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
My first time watching, I was like, that wouldn't work. They tell you your shoes are insulated. And then I was like, maybe her shoes aren't, because like those are like fashiony shoes.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I
That's like
thought-
what Donald Trump wears when going down some sort of a slick ramp.
Flat bottoms. Very slippery. Ice. James Bond, like oil shooting out.
Yeah.
Oh no, the ramp is so. No, like I pictured it like, well, she's the Slayer. So she's going to get shocked, and then they're going to be like, oh no, and then it's like, oh, there must have been like a circuit breaker. It's fine, but she just be like, I'm not going to get killed by that. But then it was this weird, like, Buffy, no! And, like, the water going, and, oh, God! And jumping, like, zapping and stuff. And I was like, oh, fucking A.
They still managed to slip in a water-conscious, this is how droughts start,
This is how droughts get started.
as she turned the
God.
water off. I like that. They're in California.
I forgot
that.
that.
Would be, on the forefront.
They have no water there.
And sure, it's very true.
And what little water they have is all fed into almonds, apparently. It's very terrifying.
Almonds and just school showers that are left on.
Does this look familiar to either of you?
Yeah, sure. Looks like a book.
I knew that one.
So at the point when they realize what had happened and the book is empty, that like, oh, he was scanned in, and Giles is telling, you know, Xander and Buffy about this. I love the like, you let Moloch out?
You released Moloch?
Way to go.
I didn't read it.
The way to go from Buffy, like every once in a while, at least 10 times per episode, there's a line that is said just beautifully.
Yes.
It transcends time and space and just hits me right in the funny.
No, that's the Joss Whedon writing style that I think either we love or we were just raised
love
on
it.
to love
Love
or
it so
something.
much.
But I agree. Everything's very witty and good.
Well, then
Thanks.
there's like none of them know how to use computers, and they're like, oh, no, at the risk of being idiotic, maybe we try to delete him. and it's like she like dung 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 dung, like finds the Willow folder and like drags it to the garbage. That's when you first see the digitized Moloch,
Yes.
like, leave Willow alone.
Isn't that when they drag and goes "Bidum," and goes
Yeah.
"Bidum," and keeps going back? It doesn't even make that noise. I'm making that noise in
Well,
my head.
my head was like,
But,
what were you typing if it was on the desktop?
Listen, I don't know. That's what I mean. Like, there's two types of like fake computer stuff in movies, and one is hackers where they type like Cookie Monster exe, and then Cookie Monster's like eating the
data
the
in real time.
and like the virus. Like, that's awesome to me. But this is like, to hack the thing. Fucking, I don't know. And then the computer like explodes or something. And you're like, what is happening? Yes.
Yeah.
He's out of the net. He's bound.
Some like tiny details that I just want to call out
What do you call
are
these Easter eggs?
maybe Xander has a shirt that says porn star on it.
Cool, thanks.
Xander, you want to stay and help me?
Are you kidding?
Yes, it was a joke I made up.
Yeah.
I think that's funny. Like, you just see how cute Willow is when they open her locker and there's a picture of her and Giles. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. Like, how nice is that? The kid that gets his paper turned to Hitler has like the oldest laptop I may have ever seen in my whole life.
So good.
It's
'Cause, like,
fantastic.
the way history works with like technology, right? A couple of years, and then like the filter of like, what does the movie think is appropriate for now, for like when it's set or whatever. Yeah, you can get some crazy stuff. Yeah, it's like a brick. It looks like it's
That's like one of those portable data processor type things. Like,
it's
I'm
pretty
like,
good.
whoa, this thing is great.
I'm into that.
No,
Definitely.
I liked it tremendously. So to flash forward, they now are going to this location,
facility.
the facility to find Willow because she's been kidnapped. They like fucking got her.
Yeah.
I love there's a moment where not only does Xander drop knowledge on what that facility is, but he drops the jaws because no one expects him to have any information at all.
I couldn't get close enough to see what it was.
Calax Research and Development. It's a computer research lab. Third largest employer in Sunnydale. Top closed down last year.
Like, what? I can't know things.
What, I can't have information sometimes?
It's just somewhat unprecedented.
And what is it, like Giles says something like not historically or like
Yeah, there's been a pattern or something. Whatever.
yeah. But like Xander gets a second moment to shine where like as they're running out, he just like punches a scientist in the face. He's like, hey, I hit somebody.
Hey, I gotta hit someone.
Yeah, that might be the favorite line. There's a little bit of competition, but yeah.
I think that's great.
You're
And
like,
then,
come on, let's go. I hit someone. Like, he's so excited. He's like,
a moment later, he gets leveled by fucking, what are you calling him? Not Robo Moloch.
Mecha Moloch?
Mecha. Yeah, he just gets like hitting him. I'm like, wow, that's a metal fist. He'd probably be dead.
He's dead.
But even the fact that they already got to survive going through like James Bond's factory because like knockout gas comes from the ceiling. Like, oh, the security system is robotic.
Building security system is computerized.
Whoops.
And like even if that was like fire suppression stuff,
yeah.
like Xander's like knocked out.
No, I know.
It's interesting.
It is.
I thought you were gonna justify it, like, oh no, the tech firms they have these.
No,
things.
absolutely. There's no justification for that except that that's what like happens when you go to like the you know Takashimi Plaza or some weird thing. It's got a weird right or that Paul Reiser movie where his ID badge was a little bent and then the building started to kill him for 2 hours. Right? Like we were afraid that like well if we put a microchip in your toaster, you're gonna wake up from a nap on the couch and your toaster's just gonna be toasting shit all over the house.
Yeah.
Like that was this like crazy irrational like oh he's tapped into the cameras and the things and now he's doing the thing. And yes, to your point, like how is he flooding the chamber with deadly neurotoxin?
Yeah, you can only do things that exist.
Right. Like there has to be a button that a human could hit that would fill it with deadly toxin.
And I assume there is.
Well, we saw it, so there must be. But yes, that's crazy.
It's such a goofy thing, but I love those little extra above average details where I'm like, I don't think you'd find that now, let alone 20 years ago.
Don't you think you're kind of rushing all into this? You know what I mean?
To play up on, I guess, your angle of like they're gonna smash. There's that great moment where Giles is returning her little like corkscrewy earring thing, and he says something like, well, I don't wear corkscrew earrings, and she goes, it doesn't go in my ear, and you're like, at best case, what does that mean? That's a belly button ring? At the most interesting. What are we saying here on this network television show?
How'd she leave it behind then? Like, what's going on?
You're typing so feverishly, the computers are smoking, and just clit rings pop out.
It just falls out of your pant leg onto the ground?
Happens.
Is that what I'm supposed to believe?
It's like Danny DeVito in a cock ring. It just drops.
Oh, shit. It fell off.
Just from friction. Just from what's going on.
It's been known to happen before.
I'm not going to rule it out. I'm not going to say it's impossible. I'm just saying it's unlikely.
Yeah. Oh, I just remembered there's a kid that gets poisoned by penicillin because it got deleted from his chart, and that hit me because I'm allergic to penicillin.
Check the computer, and there's nothing in this file about being allergic to penicillin.
I am too.
It's a thing we do.
I didn't realize we had this in common.
Of course. And then, of course, the button of this thing is like, we're all going to die alone and unhappy. And I like that.
That was probably my favorite part. I said earlier, like, I'm not sure if that's my favorite line, but that ending. The timing of it, comedically, how it's structured, but also, it's true.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I mean, the only dude I'm interested in this town is fucking vampire, and we almost tried to kill each other. And he's like, I had a crush on a t-shirt, and she turned out to be a giant praying mantis to try to eat me. And Willow's like, yeah, thanks, guys. She's like smiling, like, that cheers me up. And then they hit in with the whole thing, like, I guess none of us is ever going to have a good relationship ever. That's life on the Hellmouth. Yeah, we're doomed. And then just hangs on this, like. Let's
face it, none of us are ever going to have a happy, normal relationship.
We're doomed.
Yeah.
And then just, like, cuts.
Yeah.
And then like the music's playing, you're like, oh, it's great.
It is such a
nice little
think about how
moment.
Dramatically intense your life actually is when like this is only 8 peaks into their life.
Yes.
And all 3 of them have had a love interest that is potentially a murderer or tried to kill them or at least looked like they were going to kill their mom. Like this is quite the day.
Yeah, potentially was literally going to kill them or like the group.
Yeah.
Yes. And we've had other episodes where we weren't trying to smash.
Yeah.
And people were going to die. So yes, this is a neat, because this is not like the finale. This is just nestled here, kind of in like this is like the 3rd act of the season, I think. How many episodes?
We're 8 of 12.
It's a shorter, it's like 12. Yeah. So this is 8. So this is right in that 2/3 mark.
Yep.
Where we want to emphasize, like, this is not a fun, like, hey, every week there's a new challenging adventure. This is like hey, let's pause to reflect on how far we've come in the last 8 episodes.
Exactly.
And how we're doomed, and just ends on this somber note.
High school is hell, and for some, more than others.
For the residents of Sunnydale, certainly.
Indeed. All right, guys, that's everything that happened in episode 8 of season 1. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next week for episode 9.
Hello, internets.
I just love watching Justdaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.